Thursday, so we get to catch up with the mayor, Scott Maddasion. Good to see you, Scott.
You as well.
Things going, how are they going?
You know what? Conference tournaments started for college basketball, so I'm in my happy place.
There you go.
I love
Do you
college
guys
basketball.
do a bracket at City Hall?
We haven't done it at City Hall, but I've done some other places. You know, I'm a huge basketball guy. You know that.
Right, yes.
So when conference tournaments start, you know, there's like 44 games on the day, which is amazing. There's about just as many yesterday, and then going into March Madness, this is my favorite time of the year.
No doubt. And, of course, Northern Iowa getting in as a 6th seed in the Missouri Valley Conference. Good for them.
That was great. Yeah. I mean, so far, all the Iowa teams, I guess Drake is out. You know, their conference is over, or tournament's over, but we've got Iowa and Iowa State again today. So, yeah, looking good for Iowa basketball as a whole.
I know you're a big basketball fan. You coached for a while. So what do you think of Ben McCollum?
I like him. I think, I prefer a little bit faster pace. They slowed the ball down a little bit, but you can't complain about the efficiency. I mean, their team is efficient. I mean, when they do things, they do them right, which is really cool. So I'm interested to see what his first recruiting class looks like. Obviously, he was Division II to then brought some guys to Drake, and then he brought those guys to Iowa. So we'll see kind of what his recruiting looks like with NIL and all that stuff. It'll be interesting because it'll probably be different for him. But, yeah, I think it's a fresh look for Iowa basketball, and it's fun. We went to the Iowa-Michigan game last week, and that was a fun game to be at. We lost by 3 or 2 or 3, whatever it was. Had a good shot at the end, but it was a good atmosphere to be at for that game because they played tough. So
yeah, it is interesting with the transfer portal and with NIL and the money that these athletes. I was listening to one of the programs, Ben McCollum's Hawk Talk, and he was talking to Bobby Hansen. And he asked him, you know, what was your averages like? What were you when you were? And he was a good ball player in Iowa. Well, he said about 17 points and, you know, close to 10 rebounds a game. And he was telling Bobby how much he would have made today.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, just incredible.
I mean, you got Rick Pitino said he won't even recruit high school kids anymore. Transfer portal and NIL money. That's what he uses, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you get some players that are probably in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
That are playing basketball.
Yeah.
And aren't they talking about the first 2 years of junior college not counting toward your 4 years of college eligibility?
I haven't heard it, but that's wild if that happens. But yeah.
Well, we got to talk.
I got you off track. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That is fine. No problem about that. Budget.
Yeah, so obviously we're in the budget season right now. We've talked budget a little bit the last couple times I've been on here, but last Tuesday we set the public hearing for the not to exceed tax levy. Okay, so what that means is we have a draft budget, we have a draft tax levy. It is an increase from what it was before. And there's probably going to be a little bit of an increase. It shouldn't be as much as what we're proposing. So this not to exceed means we can't go higher than that. We can go lower than that, and we have plans to go lower than that. But you have to set it to a certain level because you can't go above it after that meeting or after you have this published. And the reason we do that, especially this year, is the state legislature has some bills right now where they're looking to change how property taxes are operated in Iowa as far as how they're calculated, who pays them, and all those rollbacks and all those types of things. So for us, the current proposal on the table is, you know, about an $800,000 hit to our general fund as far as tax revenue coming in for, you know, the public service that we provide, right? All the services out there. So this not to exceed levy partly is a little bit higher because of that, because we're unsure of what the state legislature is going to do, and we don't want to be in a bind where we're underfunding the services that we need to provide. But then also with some things budgets have shaken out with over the last 4 or 5 years, there's going to be a little bit increase because obviously things increase, you know. Health care for employees, just general property liability insurance for the city, just for the things that we own and operate. Everything's going up. You know, healthcare was a 16% increase last year, and it hurts, right? And that all is put on the levy, and that's all part of the budget stuff. So that's why we're seeing increases, just like everybody is in their homes. You know, if things are going up. So
what did you set that at?
So the proposed one is at, if you add everything together, it's at like 1680. per thousand on your valuation is what it is, but we should be lower than that. We were 1526 or 1527 last year. So it is showing an increase, but I'm hoping that we can get that 1680 down in that $16 range. So I'd really love if we increase it's about 75 cents per thousand and not more than that. Not promising I can get it there, but the council, we're going to continue to work on it through the next couple months. Our budget's not due till April 30th, so we're going to have our public hearings. We're going to keep working through it. We're going to look at what the state legislature's doing, and then we'll go from there.
So April 30th is your date.
Yeah.
What about the state legislature?
Well, same thing. I mean, they stop getting their per diem May 1st, right? So usually this legislative session is wrapped up by then. But if they go over, they go over. I have seen them a few years back. They went till like May 15th in that range, right? So really what the state's looking to do is they're looking to change the rollback, which means like if your house is worth $100,000 and the 50% rollback, you only pay tax on 50% of it, not the whole 100,000, right? So that's how Iowa tax is going. They're trying to simplify it, so they're trying to change some things like that. There also is a provision in there that they're looking to eliminate or reduce property taxes for seniors, right? And I saw a proposition yesterday that may get changed, but it started at the age 60. Right, so and the cap is it's anything below 350,000. So your house, the first 350,000 and below, right? As far as your valuation, it was from 60 to 69, you get a 60% reduction. 70 to 79, 70%, 80, and then 90, and then you'd get a 100% reduction if you got to 100 years old, right? So there's some people proposing that you have to actually own your home, like not have a mortgage on it in order to get those reductions. There's some proposals out there because the House, the Senate, and the governor all have different proposals. There's other proposals that say if you're in that age group, you get it no matter if the house is paid off or not. So that is important to us in Clinton specifically because we have an older population if you look at the demographics across there. So we have a ton of folks that are in that age range. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have property tax relief. I'm just saying that if that goes away, there's going to be some tough decisions too because that's what pays for police, fire, public works, all those types of things that you're filling potholes and all that. So it could be tough down the road, or even in a couple months, depending on what the legislature does.
What sources of income does the city get? I mean, is it just property taxes, or how else do you bring in money?
It's not. So I'll try to keep it short because it's a pretty complicated system. But the wastewater plant that handles that operates on its own. Sewer revenue comes in, that covers that. Solid waste operates on its own. Garbage pickup, you pay for the garbage pickup, it covers the cost for that stuff, right? The general fund is the things that you think of every day. It's police, fire, public works, community development, building neighborhood services, library, airport, like all those types of things, right? The normal stuff. That budget is about $27 million. Only about half of that is property tax revenue. The other revenues come from other sources. So your property taxes do not pay for the everything that the city does. The other sources of revenue would be we get ambulance revenue. That's a couple $1 million a year. Obviously, Parks and Rec generates a good amount of revenue. The library generates some revenue. Then we also get roughly $4 million a year from local option sales tax. That's the 1% that's added on that was voted on by the citizens back in the 90s. That's another proposal. They're looking to maybe move that to 1.5% if the citizens would vote it, which would generate a little bit more revenue to cover that property tax loss. There's road use tax fund. That's our portion of the road use, like the gas tax and all those things that go to the state DOT. There's a formula where we get money back. It's like $140, $150 per person of your population, and that's what you get for your road use money, and that's generally around $3.5 or $4 million. So there's other revenue sources that we get coming in that is not property taxes, and then permit fees and things like that are kind of minor, but yeah.
So there's a lot of ways, that you generate revenue.
There is a lot of ways we generate revenue. It's not just the property taxes, right? Obviously, that's a big bulk of it, and that's a major factor in how we budget and what we can provide out there. So
Visiting with Scott Maddasion, we'll have more. Going to take a break for the weather right now, brought to you by the Clinton Midas.
A lot more sunshine, especially this morning. Mostly sunny skies by the afternoon, partly to mostly cloudy. We'll see highs near 50. Tonight, winds increasing, clouds increasing, and also some light rain showers likely as we drop into the upper 30s. With your Storm Track 8 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Sunshine, we're at 31 degrees. Our update brought to you by Midas. Your Clinton Midas, locally owned and operated for 49 years. Trust your vehicle to the Clinton Midas. They are now offering savings on brakes with up to $80 in savings. Get the complete details at your Clinton Midas. Of course, for maintenance, count on them from everything from an oil change to major repairs. If your engine light comes on, let the Clinton Midas give it a diagnostic check. Tires, batteries, windshield wipers, and much more at the Clinton Midas, 1432 Lincoln Way. Trust the Midas touch. FYI with Scott Maddasion, Clinton Mayor, you were talking about the various ways you generate revenue for the city, and that 1% sales tax you mentioned maybe going to 1.5%. And I asked you, is this something once it's in, it's always in?
Yeah, it is. I can't remember the exact year. I want to say 97, but I could be completely wrong when the citizens here voted it in. So that's been around for over 30 years, really. And if the state gives the option to go to that 1.5, it would have to go to a referendum vote again, and the citizens would have to vote it in. So I like local option sales tax outside of the property tax thing, just because everybody contributes. Then it's not just people that own properties, right? You know, anywhere you go and you buy something, unless it's tax exempt or whatever, that money goes to that pot and it comes back to us. So it's more, I guess you could say it's more fair and evenly distributed as far as who's paying it. I mean, nobody wants to pay taxes, period, right? And I agree, but obviously there's things that we have to do to provide services, and that's our mechanism to do it.
And you also pointed out that, you know, like if somebody comes in from out of town and purchases something while they're in Clinton, that's revenue for us.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, Clinton's a unique community in the sense that we are kind of a hub for a lot of places in the area. You know, a lot of places don't have the grocery stores and the restaurants and things that we have here, right? So think about our surrounding population of about 50 or 60,000 people in the communities that are close to us, right? So we benefit from all that type of stuff. You know, people that come here to shop, they come here to do their business, whatever it is. So, you know, buy gas. Maybe they work here and they live somewhere, but they're still you know, buying gas, stopping at the gas stations, whatever. So yeah, it is a benefit on our side just to have that opportunity.
Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion, Clinton Mayor. Speed cameras.
Yeah. So this is a touchy subject, I guess you'd say. I'm sure a lot of people will be fired up about this, but I want to let you know that we're in the beginning stages. We discussed speed cameras first in 2023, and it was voted down by the city council. We haven't had an official vote on it right now. The police department is looking at doing some research on what it would entail to put speed cameras only in school zones. Now, the Iowa DOT has not made a ruling on this yet. April 1st, we'll know for sure where DOT is going to allow them to be and where they can't be. There's some other communities out there that have abused the ability to use speed cameras. They were trying to put them on Interstate 80. I think West Branch is the culprit for that, to try to get some revenue that way. And obviously, that's not kosher, right? Yeah. So this would be only in speed zones. School zones, and it's not a done deal. It's a conversation at the moment. So if you're out there and you do have some feedback, you could always email me or give me a call or find me somewhere and let me know. It hasn't even been voted on. We're not at that point. We're just gathering information. But the information they had from a few years back, as far as how many speeders are in the school zones, they did some tracking. It is a large number. And I'll tell you this, being completely honest, I'm not sure I support speed cameras or not. I really am I see the benefit in the school zones. I also don't want to, put a burden on the citizens where we're paying, you know what I mean? But also the law is a law, and you shouldn't speed, especially in zones where kids are running around, because I've got little kids, so I feel that. But it's a tough subject, right? It's a hard one. So definitely would like some feedback from the citizens on what they think. Good, bad, whatever, if you have any experience with them. So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to mention it today.
I was thinking, the schools that we have, of course, you got up in Lyons, Eagle Heights. So I mean, they're well off the road.
Right.
But on Main Avenue there, I could see where people might be exceeding that speed limit a little
Sure.
bit. Whittier, that's a residential area.
Yeah.
And then you've got, the high school. I could see where that could be an issue on the high school.
Yeah,
there.
so they don't have to go in all the school zones either.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So they don't have to go everywhere. We could pick and choose,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And if you look at the data, Eagle Heights, you're right, it's probably not pertinent to have one there. You know, there's no kids walking across the street there. At least I've never seen them. There's no sidewalks there either. So that one's probably irrelevant. Bluff is the worst, if I remember right.
Okay, I can see that.
Because and it's on Bluff, not on South 14th, but on Bluff.
Right.
The speeding right there is pretty bad. The high school was actually pretty low. There wasn't
Okay.
a lot of speeders in that area. I think that stop sign on that T intersection there, right out in front of the school, probably keeps that at bay, just because that's there. Whittier was kind of high.
okay.
Jefferson doesn't really have much because you're not. Just the way it's set up, you're not getting to a high speed down in that area as
Yeah,
you're
because
going by.
basically it's on 3rd Avenue South when
Yeah.
you come into the school there. So,
Yeah, so that one's not too bad. In front of Prince Peace there on the one way, obviously that's a concern in that one. There's a lot of people that fly down that one, so it doesn't have to be everywhere. I think maybe some of the intersections it might behoove us to do it, right? It might make sense for safety purpose. Some of the other ones I don't like. Eagle Heights, I see that kind of as a money grab, and I don't really support that because I don't think it's, like you mentioned, as necessary. But
While we're speaking about that, how are things going downtown with the removal of the stoplights?
I think it's going great. I haven't heard any complaints. I haven't heard that there's been any accidents down there. So I drive down that way a lot because when I'm at my office on 2nd Street, I roll down to City Hall, and I usually go all the way down there and kind of turn on 7th there. So I think it's wonderful when you get past 2nd Avenue South and you can just kind of scoot right through all the way down to 5th.
And I see it's still stop and go yet down on 7th Avenue South.
Yeah, 7th Avenue South. I don't know when that one's going to go away, but it's going to. So I would have thought that would be done already, but there must be a reason. I'd have to ask Jason to be sure.
You know, I'm that way quite a bit, and I usually come from 3rd Avenue to get to the post office, coming off 3rd Street onto 3rd Avenue or 4th Street. And I shouldn't be coming from 3rd Street. I should be coming from 4th Street if I'm heading south. But it hasn't been an issue so far.
Yeah, I thought potentially on 3rd there was going to be some visibility issues just because we have a lot of folks that park there for 392, right? That's usually a pretty well traveled area. But now that I've gone that way a few times, and I purposely have gone that way a few times coming east on 3rd there to there, I don't think it's that much of an issue. I think we're okay. So, it's worked out.
Got the mayor in. Biogas facility.
Yeah, so that was on the meeting the other night, the biogas facility. So really what we did this wastewater expansion with ADM to take their industrial waste. Part of that is it creates methane gas, and that methane gas can then be scrubbed and turned into a renewable gas that can be put in the pipeline and Alliant. So there's obviously a giant revenue stream there that can be seen. So to do a biogas facility, it's about, we're using 25 million as the estimate. It's actually a little bit lower than that. And the big talk right now is in the decision-making process is we potentially qualify for an investment tax credit through the IRS and the federal government, which would give us up to 50% of the cost of the project in a cash payment to the city, right? So it could be up to $12 or $13 million that we would get as a cash payment to the city for doing this facility and creating this renewable gas and getting it in the pipeline. So that is a big conversation. We are enlisting RSM, which is a tax firm, to do some analysis to determine if we qualify. And we can qualify at a 30, 40, or 50% rate, right? 50% is the highest, and 30 would be the lowest. We had that on the meeting the other day. It'll be a resolution on the 24th to have RSM start doing that. The scope of their work is pretty extensive because it will take it from the beginning all the way to the end. They'll handle all the tax paperwork. They'll handle everything with the IRS. They'll do all of that for us because we don't have the resources or the expertise to do that. It's a big price tag for that, but it's about $400,000 to do it. When they first start, we'll know within the first probably 5,000 to 10,000 billing hours whether or not we're going to be eligible for this tax credit. And if we're not, they're going to probably recommend we just stop there, and we wouldn't have spent a whole ton of money. But if we are eligible for it, they're going to have a pretty high certainty at that point, and then we can continue on. And then the rest of those fees would be throughout the year or two of building this facility going through. So it is a big investment, but there's a lot of potential revenue there in a partnership with ADM as well. So
Always appreciate you coming
Yeah.
in. Before we let you go, we're getting toward construction season. The
Yeah.
weather is going to be getting nicer. How are things coming along on especially manufacturing drive out in that area?
things are going well. We're moving right along. The bridge is going well that they took down over by Nestle Purina there, the second bridge. The first one looks great if you drove on it, nice and wide and everything. So that stuff's all moving along just fine. We are going to see a little bit of a slowdown in construction over the next fiscal year. So July 1 until June 30 next year. We're going to do a North 3rd Street resurfacing project. There's on 5th Street, there's a sewer separation project, but we're not going to have as many things torn up and 2nd Avenue South is still being done as well. So we're going to kind of slow down a little bit on some of the things, so there's not as many detours and stuff like that until this bluff and manufacturing gets closer to completion. We're also dialing it back a little bit on our borrowing within our budget to keep those dollars down. So yeah, everything's going to go good, but you'll see a little bit less activity. There'll be some concrete patching and some small resurfacing stuff here and there, but nothing real major outside that bluff and manufacturing.
What about here out in front of us on 13th Avenue? Looks like we might be getting a sidewalk.
They're going to be getting that trail done for you, all the way down, and it'll end up all the way out to the middle school and then over to the Erickson Center.
All
So
right, very good.
it'll be good.
All right, people want to find out more about our city. How can they best do that, Scott?
Always sign up on iCompass. You can get alerts on all the meetings when they are. We put everything on YouTube. You can get on Microsoft Teams. You can come to any of the meetings. They're all posted publicly so that you're welcome to show up to anything that we have. And then lastly, you can email myself, council members, give us a call, whatever you need to do, we'll get back to you and get you some answers.
Thank you so much. As always, we appreciate the mayor coming in on the second Thursday of the month. He'll be back in on Thursday, April the 9th. Next Thursday, it's Schools Day, and scheduled to be in will be Superintendent of Schools, Wes Golden.
And here he goes for another dunk. No blocking that one. No blocking that one.
Whether they're at Carver Hawkeye Arena or on the road,
What an emotional win for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
the Hawks hit the hardwood right here. Catch every game